do this.
Profile and learn about your business and all that kind of stuff.
Welcome to the American Disc Jockey Association Utah chapter. My name is Ralph Beret, and we thank you guys for joining us today for our meeting. And I want to ask you, have you ever experienced financial stress? Well, you guys are in the right place. Because today we have an expert in developing better financial habits. He's written several books, including Yes, Money Can Make You Happy, and is working on a new one, Financial Misbehavior. He's also the co-founder of TM Wealth Management, a firm that has been named top financial planning practice for doctors 3 of the past 4 years. When he's not speaking, writing, or thinking about money, he spends time with his wife and 3 children and plays guitar in a rock and roll cover band. And I've seen it, and he's pretty good at it.
Rhythm guitar and eye candy. That's what I do. Thanks for laughing.
And a word of warning, he thinks he's funny, but he's not. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me by welcoming Martin Hurlburt.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for having me here. I met about half of you, so I want to start by reading 3 quotations from this little booklet. Now, if these quotations either describe you or you agree with them, I want you to raise your hand. Here, I guess one here. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, as long as you've got money. Do you agree with that? Okay. See, I'm kind of funny. All right. Next one's a little deeper, by John Wooden. Here on page 4, I love John Wooden. He said, it's what you learn after you know it all that really counts. That's pretty deep. You like that one? All right. Okay. Appreciate that. Russ likes that one. My favorite one of all, on page 3, the first one. Again, if it describes you, please raise your hand. I came into this world with nothing, and I still have most of it. Describe anybody here. All right, thank you very much. Every time I speak, I have 3 goals in mind. Number 1 is to have fun. Is that okay with you? Have some fun tonight. Number 2, teach you as much as I can in our short time together. And number 3, most important of all, change the way you look at yourself, the way you look at your money, and how money impacts your life. That's my goal. And my lovely assistant Sarah here is going to pass out to you a fill-in-the-blank outline. Looks like this. So I've already taken most of the notes for you. I do this so you can go take it home with you, and Sunday afternoon, after you've had your nap, sit down with your loved one and review this. If not your loved one, talk to your spouse. Either one will do. Hey-oh. I need a rim shot. That's what I need, huh? All right. Now, a little more serious here, though. True story. About 3 years ago, the wife of a prominent doctor came into my office, and 5 minutes later, she was in tears. She explained to me that her husband finished medical school a decade earlier as a specialist. That's a lot of training. $500,000 in debt. That's not too unusual for a specialist. Okay, now 10 years have gone by. This guy's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for 10 years. They now have over $1 million in debt. They've doubled their debt load. She said, Martin, financial stress is tearing us apart. We're on the verge of bankruptcy and divorce. So what would you recommend to them? Okay, more about them in a moment. Let's now go back to 25 years ago. I'm a brand new financial advisor. Look even younger than I do right now. And 25 years ago, I'm here in Utah, started my career. My parents live in California, and my mom sent to me a newspaper article. If you young people are in the back, that's when you sent the actual piece of paper, okay, and not a link to it online. So I get this piece of paper in the mail, and it said that about 82% of all professional athletes declare bankruptcy within 5 years of leaving the sport. That just blew me away. That means they go from millions, tens of millions, for some, hundreds of millions of dollars, to bankruptcy in just a few years. And can we define, what is bankruptcy? Does that mean like you have nothing? No. No, okay, here's nothing. When you're bankrupt, you're down here. You're like looking to get back to nothing, right? How in the world can that happen? It blew my mind, because in college, all my economics classes said that should never, ever happen. So all my traditional economic theory classes were a waste of time because they're based upon a false premises. They're based on the existence of a mythical creature I call Homo economicus. And according to modern economic theory, Homo economicus resides in all of us. Here's what I define it. It says it's the ideal human who makes utility maximizing decisions every single time. In other words, for traditional economic theory to work, you and I can never make a financial mistake. Is that pretty realistic? Okay, I mean, like years and years, like 8 years to get a 4-year degree, all wasted, right? Well, not exactly. So when I learned this, that everything I learned about economics in school was wrong, I was introduced to the world of behavioral economics. Now, behavioral economics is defined like this. It doesn't study economic theory, but rather how people actually behave in real-world financial situations. It assumes that people are not always rational with their money. Now, when I read that definition, it's like the heavens opened up, the lights came down and said, Martin, that is you. That's your mission. And ever since then, it has been my mission to find out why you manage your money the way you do, both the good and the bad. I've read just dozens and dozens of books. I've written a few books. I talk about it. It drives my wife crazy. Because on vacation, what am I reading? Yeah, The Organized Mind. This is my light vacation reading. I can't put it away because I love it. I love it. So in the past 25 years, it's been my life's mission. Read all these books. I lecture extensively. I meet with a lot of people one-on-one. I'm now going to condense for you my life's work, my life's mission in just 7 words. Would you like to hear what they are? It's the first fill in your blank in the outline. It's this. Here's what I've learned in 25 years. Emotions can be hazardous to your wealth. That will save you a degree in economics right there. So write that down. Emotions can be hazardous to your wealth. What we're going to talk about today is what I mean by that, how it impacts you, how it creates financial stress, and then what you can do about it. So to understand the relationship between your emotions and money management, we're going to do a brief summary of how our brains operate. Very brief summary. So we got the emotional side here, the right side, and the logical side. The emotional side has 2 primary driving factors. Any guesses what they are? What does it want, the emotional side? It wants to get pleasure or avoid pain. And when does it want to do it? Right now. Okay, sharp thing. Now. That's all it wants. Then we got the logical side. All the cubicles right there. It wants to carefully compare and contrast all the possible courses of action and pick the absolute best one. Life is good. Your life is good when both sides of these brain are working in balance, in harmony. That's the way it's supposed to work. Here's a challenge we have, though, just in life in general and especially money management. We're being overwhelmed. We're being asked to make more choices today than ever before in the history of this world. And it's supposed to make your lives better and create custom experiences, but it's actually make you happier, but it's kind of having the opposite effect. There's a great book called The Paradox of Choice. I'll save you $10 from Amazon, but I recommend the book. He basically says this. Again, we have all these things supposed to make our lives easier and customize experiences. It's overwhelming our brains, and it's making our lives actually worse. He calls it the tyranny of choice. Let me give you an example. How many of you have ever bought fish crackers? Okay, what's the purpose of fish crackers? Nutrition?
No.
Make my
What
kids happy.
There you go. Yeah, make your kids happy. How about this? Make your kids behave in public. Okay, you want your kids to behave in public, you buy fish crackers, all right? So let's imagine you're going to some fancy wedding, and you want the kids to behave. So on the way to the wedding, you stop by the grocery store to buy some fish crackers. Why? So your kids behave. And you find this. Whoops. There we go. 36 varieties of fish crackers. You just want them to not cry in public or throw a tantrum. And now your brain has to analyze, compare and contrast 36 varieties to pick the best one. I was teaching this down in Utah County last year. A lady raised her hand. She said, vanilla cupcake. I said, what are you talking about? That's my kid's favorite variety of fish cracker. And there it is right there. Vanilla cupcake. Who knew? Okay, when my kids were younger, this was the only option. And it worked. But to make your lives better, what have they done? More choices. That's just one very small part of your life. Let's now multiply that hundreds of times, perhaps thousands of times per day. Has your brain ever got tired before? You get to the point where you say, I just can't think anymore, right? That literally happens. In this book right here, The Organized Brain, Daniel Levitin says, neurons are living organisms that require oxygen and glucose to survive. And when it's overworked, we experience fatigue. So I got with the doctorate who wrote a very, very thick book. There's the authority. Your brain literally gets fatigued and it checks out temporarily. He goes on to say every Facebook status update, every email, text, and tweet is competing in your brain for resources on how to better manage your money. And what happens is when your logical side is overworked and checks out, the emotions take over, that leads to poor financial choices. This was shown in a study at MIT. Here's a study. They asked two groups of people to memorize some numbers. The first group had to memorize 7 numbers. Second group, only 2 numbers. But that wasn't the experiment. What followed was, when they were done memorizing their numbers, they said, oh, by the way, would you like some cake or some fresh fruit? Now, one of these groups, they almost all chose the cake. The other group almost all chose the fresh fruit. Let's see how smart you guys are here. Okay. Those memorized 7 numbers, did they choose cake or fruit? What do you think? Cake? Y'all think cake?
Cake.
This is just like a really, really smart group. Exactly right. Okay? And what the scientists concluded was their brain was so engaged trying to memorize 7 numbers that it was not able to reel in the emotional side. And so they go down the aisle and they hear this voice in their head, cake good, me cake now. You ever heard that voice?
Yes.
Right? And they grab the cake.
I just want your goldfish crackers.
You want? Is that a distraction for you? You know, I gave this class to a group of radiologists, like really, really smart, highly paid doctors. And afterwards, one of the doctors told my partner and I, the only thing I remember is, Martin, I want cake. I want to do my job, make my money, and I never want to think about it. I just want to have fun and eat my cake. Okay, that's great. You know what? Nothing wrong with that. So now we want to put this in the context of managing your money. Remember, you're very, very busy. You're making hundreds, perhaps thousands of choices every single day, from fish crackers to who knows what. You get home, it's 9, 10 o'clock at night. The kids are finally in bed for the 3rd time, but this time it's permanent, we hope. All right? Knock on wood. And you're 10 o'clock at night, and you're just exhausted. Your brain's checked out. You're fatigued. And you go, oh, man, you know what? I got that old 401k. I should roll it over. I've heard about 401k rollovers. So you go to the fountain of all knowledge, which is what?
Google.
Yeah, Google. You type in how to invest. This pops up. 267 million websites on how to invest your money. If you looked at 100 websites every single day, 365 days a year, it would take you 73 years to get through them all. You'd lose your job. You'd probably lose your spouse. Right? That's a full-time thing. And would you get anywhere? No, because it all conflicts. On top of that, we've got this. Wall Street Journal. You got CNN, Money Magazine. How about this guy, Jim Cramer on TV, screaming at you what to do with your money. And if you're not thoroughly confused yet, we got Fox Business News, all these things going across the bottom of the screen that you can't possibly read, her cleavage distracting you. Sorry about that, but you know, that's what they do on Fox News. And you're supposed to make a rational decision. It's an important choice you have to make with your money. You are overwhelmed with conflicting, confusing information. It's now 10:30 at night. You're just brain dead. You feel like this guy right here. I look familiar? Oh, man, just make it stop. Sheesh. And when you're in that situation, you can do one of 2 things. You'll make a decision. I want to get over with. I don't care anymore, whatever. When you make a decision right then and there, is it the logical side or emotional side you think is in charge? Probably the emotional side. And that's why whether it's an investment or a purchase, 6 months later, you look back and you think to yourself, what was I thinking? You actually weren't thinking. You were reacting emotionally. So you make a decision emotionally based, get over with, or you take that very important decision and you throw it in your financial junk drawer. How many of you have kitchen junk drawers? Most of us do, right? Look at something like this. So what goes in the kitchen junk drawer?
Everything.
Yeah, okay. Does it work? You're not sure if it works. Is it part of a set, or it's an odd piece? Are you ever going to use it again? I don't know. So you throw it in the junk drawer. A lot of times when I sit down with couples for the first time, or individuals, their personal financial situation looks like this, like a junk drawer. They got a life insurance policy they bought from their old high school roommate or college roommate 5 years ago. He's already quit the business. They have no idea if they should keep it or not, so where's it go? The junk drawer. Maybe your grandma who loves you at age 5 bought you a savings bond for $50. You've had it now for 25 years. Where does it go? In the junk drawer. Here's a true story. I was sitting down for lunch with an old Army friend of mine. Very smart, successful guy, and pretty wealthy. And he told me this little story. He said, Martin, I married my wife when she was 35 years old. At the time, she was a single mom here in Utah with 3 kids. Now that can be a real struggle, right? But when they got married, because he was pretty successful, she stopped working. And he says, Martin, 10 years have gone by. She still has her 401k at the old employer. Maybe get me rolled over. And that's a big part of what I do is 401k rollovers. So I said, sure, I'll help you out. And I said, what's a rough idea of what the balance is? What would you think? 35-year-old single mom raising 3 kids by herself, how much has she accumulated at that point? I'm thinking $5,000 or $10,000 maybe.
175.
Okay. It was actually just 150. Okay, $150,000. Now let's think about this. $150,000 account that they haven't touched in 10 years. Every 3 months he gets a statement. 150,000. Yeah, I should probably do something with this. Oh, what was that? Huh? And then he puts it down back in his junk drawer for 10 years. Can you imagine the conversation maybe 4 or 5 years from now? Hey, honey, have you seen the $150,000? Ooh. Oh, check the junk drawer. If your current financial reality is best described by this picture, do you know what that makes you? Makes you normal. Okay, you're like everyone else, so it's okay. All right? Now, whether you make the emotionally based decision, you throw it in the junk drawer, you postpone that decision, either way, it can lead to financial stress in your life. Those who have high levels of financial stress are 2.5 times more likely to get ulcers, that kind of pit in your stomach. 5 times more likely to suffer from depression. Now, if depression enters a family, that's a very serious thing, isn't it? How do you measure that impact? Is that like 18% interest if your spouse gets depressed? You can't even measure the cost of that, can you? Look at the last one here. If you have high levels of financial stress, you're 10 times more likely to suffer from headaches or migraines. So, and I got to be careful how I say this here, but gentlemen, primarily male audience here, if your wife has a headache tonight, don't get ahead of me, Nicole, okay? There's a very good chance that she doesn't need an aspirin, but she needs you to reduce the financial stress in your life. And then she might have fewer headaches, and then whatever. I won't go any more into that subject here tonight. But does financial management, financial stress impact relationships? It sure does. Your health, relationships, even spirituality. Okay, money impacts everything. And I'm curious, at this point right now, how many of you are actually more depressed than you were like just 15 minutes ago? Feeling worse about yourselves and your money. Okay, that's not my intention. We want to talk about the problem right now. There's one more thing to go over too with the problem. This is all the kind of the touchy-feely stuff, the relationships, all that. Very important. It really matters. How about actually your net worth? How does it impact it? This is a highly technical diagram of every investment ever invested. They all go up, they all go down. And whether stocks, bonds, real estate, gold, whatever, when it's in an upward trend, you feel thrilled and euphoric. So what do you want to do? Buy more of it. Wow, this is up 35% this year. Give me some more, Martin. But what's that box at the top there? Tell us. What's the point of maximum financial risk? You should be most worried about that investment, and you want to buy more. What was everyone telling me in 2007 before real estate collapsed? I want to buy more, Martin. You can't lose money with real estate. They're not making any more. It's not going away. And I would show them charts like when Los Angeles County, where real estate prices went down for 10 years before they recovered. They look at those charts. It's different this time, Martin, but this time is different. So that's one part. The money comes down, the investments come down between despondency and depression. That's it. I can't take this anymore. You sell the investment and you run. No more losses for you. But what does this box tell us? Point of maximum opportunity. Most people are left to their own devices, or many people will do the exact opposite of what they should do. They'll buy up here and they'll sell down there. One of my newest clients right now has a PhD, which apparently means he's smart. Any PhDs here in disc jockeying? Is there one?
No.
Rob, you're probably.
Workshop called PhD.
There's a workshop.
Okay, all right. So let's assume you're graduate. You're smart. This guy's a very smart person. And he came to me. He has $800,000 in a bank account. He's 63 years old and wants to retire in a year or two. Now, when did that money get into his bank account? In June of 2009. Now, you don't study the markets like I do, stock market. The market recovered from this recession in March of 2009. June was right about here. Right about there, this guy moved $800,000 from the stock market into a bank account. Had he left it there, what would he have right now?
$3.5 million.
Well, let's put up a threefold increase. With some variance there, $2.4 million. Okay, he has $800,000. Okay, this is reality, folks. This is not again touchy-feely stuff like this. Is actual numbers. This guy has $1.6 million less money. Why? Because the stock market didn't work? No, because of financial misbehavior, because of the emotions getting in the way of his investing. There's another study done. This is actually a little more official chart. I'm not sure where that guy's head there is back, but anyway, there you go. You get what you pay for, huh? Dalbar does a study every year, but they look back over 20-year rolling periods of time. And this is the stock market, 8.19% for 20 years, from 96 to 2015, the average investor in the stock market got 2.11. So if the investment returns 8%, why do people in the investment get only 2%? Okay. Yeah, exactly. When they're investing when it's high, they're selling when it's low. It's financial misbehavior. We call this the behavior gap. And if you put $100,000 in each one of those returns for 20 years, this case right here, this guy didn't even double their money. In 20 years, didn't even double their money. That might sound kind of familiar to some of you guys. Yes?
Does this also include people that say, I want my money to be safe, so they put it in a bank or bonds?
No, it only includes people who actually invest in the stock market. That's a very good point. Yeah. No, those guys are not part of the study.
Okay.
It's people who are investing in the stock market where their actual returns.
Question,
Yes?
what's the inflation percentage over that same 20-year time period?
It's been relatively low the past 20 years, probably 2.5%, no more than 3%.
So they're losing money?
But yeah, but they're losing money to inflation. Yeah, they're at best breaking even, maybe losing a little bit to inflation. That's the next course, a little more advanced. So thank you. Hire this guy or promote that guy to president. Okay, I got your next president here. But here's the point I'm trying to make again. It's financial misbehavior. Same $100,000, same stock market, same 20 years. Pretty big difference, right? 3 times more money. So what's the answer then? Let's now focus on that. I'm going to give you, first of all, I'm going to break a myth, then we'll go into my 3 steps. Here's the myth I want to deal with. It's the next fill in the blank in your outline. Money does not solve financial problems. That's a big myth. A lot of people say, man, if I just had some more money, if I get a good tax refund, I get a little inheritance, whatever, life would be so much better. And when they get the extra money, what do they do with it?
Blow it.
Okay, you've had this course before? Thank you. You know it right, Matt. Good. Yeah, exactly. They spend it. If money solved financial problems, every lottery winner would live happily ever after. This is Andrew Jack Whitaker. He goes by Jack. You see his check right there? December 26th, day after Christmas, he gets $315 million. All his financial problems are over. They're solved, right? No. Check your sarcasm meters. 2 years later, he's on Good Morning America. He said, I wish I would have never bought that ticket. Here's what happened. Him and his wife were separated on the road to divorce. He was being sued in countless lawsuits. People trying to get a piece of that money. And worst of all, his teenage granddaughter, who he was raising, who lived with him, he loved her dearly, was dead of a drug overdose. See, when he got that money, he says, honey, you don't have to go to school anymore. You're never going to have to work for the rest of your life. He bought her 3 or 4 cars. He gave her a $4,000 a week allowance. Now, this was in West Virginia, but it could be right here in Utah as well. You give a teenage kid a $4,000 a week allowance and a few muscle cars and tell them not to go to school anymore, what are they going to do? Who are they going to hang out with?
Go to Vegas.
Go to Vegas, right? She fell in a wrong crowd. She's dead. Money destroyed him. Everything that mattered to him. Okay? So money does not solve financial problems. Next fill in the blank. This is it. The deepest statement of the entire evening. Are you ready for it? The real solution can be found in making better choices. Now I'm going to ask you, please don't dismiss that because it's simplicity. More often than not, the things that lead to life, success in life are very simple. You want to have a good relationship? It's simple, isn't it? Master the basics. You want to have good health? Master the basics. You want to be a good disc jockey? Have a good event for your clients. There's some basics you got to be very good at, right? Same thing with money. Those who get ahead financially are not better looking than the rest of us. They're not any smarter. They don't work any harder. They simply learn to make better choices. And here's a key thing. What drives nearly all of your financial choices?
Fear.
Fear or greed. It's how you feel about them. It's emotionally based. Exactly right. Okay? So it's emotions can be hazardous to your what? To your wealth. Not your health. Your wealth. Your wealth. Emotions can be hazardous to your wealth. So now we'll look at 3 things that you can do. You probably never get rid of it completely, but we can greatly reduce the impact of financial misbehavior and emotions when it comes to managing money. Here they are. Know thyself, create a plan, and then TAR. Look at these kind of one by one here. First one is to know thyself. If you clearly define what you want your money to do for you, what's important to you, that's a very critical first step. Then you can achieve my definition of financial success, which is this. By this fill in the blank, number 1 there is know thyself. Okay? This is from my first book, Yes, Money Can Make You Happy. True financial success comes from using your resources, which is time, energy, as well as money, to enhance the things you value most. When you can align your values with your resources, life is better. It goes smoother. You have more successes. And to the extent that you begin to separate or disengage your resources from your values, that's when problems enter in. I'll give you an example. Any golfers in here, by the way? I golf about every 3 years to remind myself why I don't like it. And I think it couldn't have been that bad because time goes on. And, yeah, it was that bad. And I was born in Scotland. I'm land of golf. Oh, well. But if a guy says, my family is the most important thing in the world to me, and spends every spare moment outside of work on the golf course, and all his extra money on golf clubs, what really matters to him? Probably golf, right? And it, we can get caught up in that because of marketing and all this kinds of stuff, and all these slick ads, and and all the different kinds of goldfish, whatever. So we can all follow that. I'm guilty of that trap myself, of getting suckered into things. My thing is guitars. I love guitars. How many guitars does a guitarist really need?
All of them. About 5.
Just one more. How many guns do you need? Just one more. Whatever your thing is, right?
Depends on who's president.
Depends on who's president. Very good. Very good. So you want to define what really matters to you, and here's how you do that. Or clearly define your purpose. This is one of the most important things you can do to better manage your money and reduce financial misbehavior. Now, it's on my website, but I got copies for you right here if you want it. It's called a self-assessment. I encourage you to take 2 of these, or at least one per spouse, home with you tonight. And here's some kind of deep questions. What really matters most to you? I've had many couples who will answer, and you should write these out separately. Don't look over each other's shoulders. Write them out separately, and then share the answers. Many couples said, Martin, this was really helpful to do this. You're shaking your head no? You're not going to go there, Matt?
We'll just do one.
Do one, okay. Okay, there's another class for you, I think, beyond this one. That's okay. That's all right. I'm glad you're here.
He's the financial guy.
But this is about values, what's important to you. It's not so much about the money. Now, on the reverse side, there's a little, how you doing right now, reality check. That's more financial, but you want to do this part right here. You have to say, this is what matters most to me. And here's why it's important. When you do that, it gives you a better perspective, which makes your choices easier. Now, not easy, but easier. Let me give you an example here. If I say the words financial independence, what comes to your mind? Let's write down just 3 or 4 ideas. What does financial independence mean to you?
I never have to work another day in my life.
Okay. So not have to work. Good.
Doesn't mean that I don't. It means I don't.
Sure. Anything else? What does financial independence mean to you when you think those terms?
Not worrying about your bills.
Okay, not worry about bills. Good. Not worry, R-E, bills. Let's see if we can get 1 or 2 more things up here.
Making money without having to work for it.
Make your money
Passive
work for
income.
you.
Can I say income whether you work or not?
Yes.
Is that okay? All right, income
Income, that's the word I was looking for.
whether you work or not. And back there in the cheap seats, any ideas? Freedom. All right. Well, now we could go on here. If you came into my office, this would be one of the first things we're going to talk about. What matters most to you? Now, I want you to imagine that you never have to work again. You work because you want to. Imagine you're there right now. Imagine you never have to worry about bills again. Money basically is a non-issue for you in your life. There's no more financial stress at all. You get income whether you work or not. You have freedom to do what you do when you want to. Really, imagine you're there right now. What would that do for you personally, for your family, and how would you feel? Can you give me 2 or 3 ideas? It'd be amazing. Thank you. Okay, so, whoops, amazing. Amazing. Okay, you still do music. Free, what's that?
Said room to stretch.
Okay, room to stretch.
That's a bigger house.
Okay.
It would mean vacation time.
More vacation.
I'd probably put that over here, vacation time,
I'd say no compromises.
because,
Friends and family time.
okay, family time. I think a related issue, let me ask you this. With no financial stress whatsoever, do you have better or worse relationships? Probably better relationships, right, for the most part. Probably better relationships. Let's put that down right here.
More time with my children.
Yep. So better relationships. Now we'll end right there, but if you do the exercise, that will kind of help you go through this. Here's what I want to suggest to you. This is a financial class that's not about money. We'll talk a lot about money, but it's really about getting beyond the money so that you can lead your life, an amazing life, have a sense of freedom in your life, room to stretch, focus on family, and have better relationships. That's what this whole class is for. That's what money is for. So the first part of Know Thyself is define what matters most to you, what's your purpose. Get the self-assessment here tonight or on my website if you want to. Here's the second part of Know Thyself. It's this. Understand your money DNA. Your money DNA is a lens through which you view your entire financial world. It impacts how you earn your money, how you spend it, save it, and invest it. Here's a little analogy for this. Imagine you're going on the freeway, going down the freeway at 75 miles an hour. Now that's a speed you're very comfortable with. And while you're going along at 75 miles an hour, this happens. Someone goes whizzing by you at 95 miles an hour. What do you think of that person? Jerk. They should lose their license. Makes no sense whatsoever, and it drives you crazy. While you're having that thought, this happens. You come up behind someone going 10 miles an hour slower than you. You can't get around them. What do you think of that person? You don't praise their cautious nature? No, jerk. They should lose their license. Makes no sense whatsoever and drives you crazy. Now, it's very similar. Oh, by the way, can I get a handful of those graphics? I did it myself.
Nice.
Compressed. I watched a 5-minute YouTube video and I created that thing.
I think the guy that's going slow, if he's in the left lane, then his life is in danger.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. So, let's now make the comparison right here. When it comes to managing money, people who want to take more or less risk than you make no sense and they drive you crazy. If someone has different spending priorities than you, it makes no sense and drives you crazy. And here's a little secret. You're probably married to that person. We tend to marry our opposites. See, but money does not cause divorce in America. It's lack of communication and respect for the differences. Now, here are the 5 basic money personalities or DNAs. Saver, spender, self-explanatory. This is the risk taker. Avoider goes like this, la 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 la. They never want to talk about money. It stresses them out. And then we have steward, wants everything to be in order. Now, all these DNAs, financial DNAs, they all have pros and cons. They're all good and bad. If you marry your opposite and you can learn to respect yours and your spouse's and bring them together, you become unstoppable, financially speaking. Give that doctor and his wife, he was a spender, she was a saver. That was causing a whole lot of conflict for them. He would relieve stress. He delivered babies, long hours, weird hours. He'd go in his back office and just buy stuff online. He was never going to use it. It's just how he reduced stress. And these boxes would arrive at the house, driving his wife crazy because he wouldn't even open them. What are you doing? We've gone from $500,000 to $1 million and you're buying more crap? Maybe a stronger word. So on the verge of getting bankruptcy and divorce. So I saw this. She was a saver, he's a spender. I said to him, you know what? Dr. Jones, not his real name. Here's the goal. You save $2,000 a month, which he could do. If you accomplish that goal, you keep it in the bank, you now get a below $200. No questions asked, and your wife's not going to complain or nag you. Was he okay with that? He was, because for spenders, it could be $20, $200, or $2,000. They just get a sense of relief from spending money. You could send them to the dollar store with $10 and give him 2 hours to find the best 10 items in there. And he'd be okay with that. Maybe not quite that far, okay? But with some people that works. Was the wife okay? Well, she's now happier because, number one, she understood her husband's need to spend money for the emotional release, and they're going to save $1,800 a month net. Now, it's not going to get them where they want to go, but that's a right start in the right direction. So understand yourself, know thyself, to find your purpose, get your money DNA. If you want to get it, you go to ifmoneycoulddtalk.com. It's there in the outline. You answer 20 questions, and a day or two later, Sarah will send you the results. What's that? Sorry, did I say a year or two? A day or two. A day or two. In your case, yeah, we'll make an exception, a year or two. All right? So that's the first one. Now, the next one for us here is to create a plan that basically supports that purpose. How many of you know what your number is? How many of you know how much money you need to retire one day? Raise your hand. Okay, if you don't know your retirement number, you know what that makes you?
Normal.
Okay, good,
How
normal.
would you know that, though? I mean, with everything, prices changing
Okay,
continuously?
good question. Here's what I would call, well, before you get that, I won't fill in the blank here. Your investment plan should project future needs and what they cost after inflation is factored in. That kind of answers your question here. Then I'll give you a graph. So here's the graph. I would call this a good plan. So here's someone's goal that, let's say it's $5,000 a month in retirement income, but 30 years from now they'll need twice that. So $120 a year, $10,000 a month. If they live to their 90s, they're going to need $20,000 a month to buy what $5,000 a month buys right now. So this is their savings or investments. That might be a pension, Social Security. Red is the gap. Is it better to know about that gap now or the day before you retire? Okay. Actually, the best time is 10 years ago. But the next best time is today. But don't wait till the very end. So if you identify this, I call this a retirement snapshot. You either now got to postpone retirement by a year or two, or maybe you have to save more now or spend less in retirement, but you can make adjustments now so you don't run out of money. I work with a lot of pre-retirees, people from like 55 to 65 years old, help them make that transition. For some, it's very overwhelming, very scary, but I help them through the process, and I'm kind of a nice guy. In spite of my tough outward appearance, I'm actually quite likable. Thanks for laughing, Matt. Okay, I kind of am funny, Rob. So this is a good plan. Now, a great plan, next fill in the blank will be this. Your plan should be dynamic. What I mean by that is it's going to change and adjust. The software my firm we use is called Money Guide Pro. It's the #1 software amongst financial advisors. It's a great one. Use it or something like it. But here's an example. This person's goal, and they're on track for it. They're in the green zone. That's good. They're probably going to make it. Retire at 65. Have 60 grand a year to spend. That's $5,000 a month. 18,000 for health care, nearly 8 grand for travel expenses. All this is adjusted for inflation for them. And they still got one kid, I guess that little oops baby, right, when they're 40 years old, is going through college as they start retirement. So there's a situation. Life's pretty good. Now this guy, let's say he's 60 years old. He has a really bad day at work. He says, that's it, honey. I'm done. I've got to quit. All right, great. You go into software. You move this from 65 to 60. What's going to happen? You think this little triangle right here? It's going to go over here somewhere. Well, that's okay. Let's make some adjustments. You know what? $5 grand a month. Can you live on $4,000 a month? If it gets me out of that job, yeah, maybe. But you see how this is very adjustable? Or our daughter, she's really cute. She'll just get married. Forget about college. I don't mean that, ladies. I really don't, okay? But I'm telling you is that this kind of dynamic planning, it lets you adjust on a daily basis if you want to. Your plan. Here's some of the benefits of planning. HPSC, as a large bank, did a study. They asked, I think it was like 16,000 people, when you think about retirement, what do you associate with it? Now, blue, kind of light blue, are the planners. Gray is the non-planners. The planners win in 3 categories. They look forward to retirement with a sense of freedom, happiness, and hope. That's pretty good. The non-planners also dominate 3 categories: loneliness, fear, and financial hardship. That's what they're looking forward to. Now, that's kind of touchy-feely stuff. It does matter. It's important, right? But look at the last line here at the very bottom. Those with financial plans, they found, had nearly 6 times the assets. That's in your outline. 552% more money than the planners. Nearly 6 times. Remember that example of the behavioral gap? $150 versus $500,000? That's over 20 years. If you extend it to 30 years, the same rates of return, it's $188,000 versus $1.1 million. These are very real numbers. Behavioral finances, behavioral economics. 188 versus 1.1, that is 6 times more money just by having a plan and referring back to it. So that's the importance of plans. Now the last one here is TAR, 3 steps for TAR. First one stands for track your progress. If you track your progress, you're going to, I think a wise man once said, you will accelerate your progress. If you track and report it, the rate of improvement accelerates. Gets even better, right? Most of my clients I would call salt of the earth, great, average, ordinary people. And they work hard for 30, 40 years, and their 401k, they got $250,000, maybe $500,000, maybe $1 million. And life's pretty good for them. They can maintain a lifestyle. I've got a handful of clients who are multi-millionaires, the kind of people who can't spend it all. And when I sit down with them, I've noticed one thing. They track all their money. They say, Martin, I got $1 million with you, got $500,000 in this development project. I've invested in this up-and-coming DJ named Rob. I have faith in him. Right, I'm going to buy him some fancy suits, better microphones, make something of them, right?
Right. That'd be awesome.
So they invest in Rob. That's a very, very wise investment. But here's why I say this. Do you think that those guys got millions and millions of dollars and go, oh, you know what? I should start tracking my money. Or do they start tracking from the very beginning, from $1, and that's why they have millions of dollars? Which comes first, the millions or the tracking? Tracking, right? So whether you use Money Guide Pro, do it yourself with help, doesn't really matter what your plan actually is made up of. Tracking will tell you whether or not it's working. Now, I like Money Guide Pro because every single day, if you link your accounts, every day it's updated if you want to. Doesn't have to be that fancy. You could, on a piece of paper, every 3 months, write down your net worth. All your assets, all your liabilities, subtract the two. Look at your net worth every 3 months. Just doing that alone will help you start making better choices because you're going to see the results. So that's track your progress is the T. Next thing is adjust. When an airplane starts here and wants to go there, there's the flight plan, a straight line. Does it ever fly in a straight line? No, never. It's always off course, always. By wind and other things, it's always trying to get back on course. Usually with the computer, if it gets really bad, like with Hurlburt, and they hit a bunch of geese, who takes over? The pilot. It's kind of like your financial plan, too. You can kind of have an auto course to some degree, but anyway, it's going to need to get back on course. And what I mean by this, too, is if your goal is to retire at age 65 on $5,000 a month, and you never change that goal, that was the planning part, even if you never change, investments will be more or less than you expected. Taxes will be more or less than you expected. You might go to the hospital one day for an outpatient procedure for 2 or 3 hours, and they might say, Rob, I'm sorry, but we got to open you up tomorrow morning, give you triple bypass open heart surgery. Are you available? You're not going to work for 2 months. Could that ever really happen? Okay, it happened to me on June 28th. So I'm now 10 weeks out of my open heart surgery. And I'm here in front of you trying to act excited. Is it working? You feeling it?
How you
Okay.
feeling?
I'm feeling freaking awesome.
Good.
Freaking awesome. I love what I do. So, track your progress, make any adjustments necessary, and the last one is to repeat. A very, very, very wise man once said this. Okay, thanks for laughing, Nate. I'm going to wait till everyone laughs. A very, very, very wise man once said this. Financial success doesn't come from an event. If you came here today thinking, great, I'm going to listen to Martin's class, I'm going to check that box. Financial success achieved. You're sadly mistaken. If I was a con artist, I'd take your money and tell you that's true. I'd charge you $3,000, but I'm not a con artist. So you have to track your progress, make adjustments, and repeat. My oldest client right now, 86-year-old retired doctor. We're planning for the next 10 years because he could easily live 10 more years. Wakes up every morning, he feeds his cattle, he mends fences, he's on horseback, he's 86 years old, and as skinny as I am. All right? Now, I'm going to give you like a little summary here in a moment and a kind of final challenge, but before I do, let's do like a little summary here, or sorry, housekeeping. I want to know how we do tonight. Did you have some fun, I hope, tonight? If you maybe learned a few things, are you starting to look at yourself and your money in a different way? I hope so. I also hope this is kind of a unique financial class, because we didn't really talk about stocks or bonds at all, did we? I'm really good at that stuff, but that's not what you need to hear right now. You need to hear this stuff right here. How many times have you heard a class as good as this? Hopefully a lot, right? And you get excited. Man, this is awesome. It's life-changing. You're nudging your honey. You know, this is good for us. We're going to do this. And you get home, and you forget half of it by the time you get home. I'm pretty sure that by 10 o'clock tonight, 11 o'clock tonight, you're going to forget half this presentation. Am I being real here? Okay, tomorrow morning, you'll forget 90%. And by next week, you're going to say, Martin, who? Financial what? Am I the only guy that does that? You guys do it too sometimes?
Yes.
All right, so knowing that in advance, you want to have those blue papers, Sarah? Sarah's going to pass out a little blue piece of paper. Why don't you give me one here so I have one real quick? I offer everyone when I speak what I call a discovery meeting. Here's what it is. It's 30 minutes of my time, no charge. We can do it in my office, which is in Orem. We can do it by phone or video chat. I do it with people all over the country. And we'll talk about anything you want to, financially speaking. If there's things here you want to learn more about, great. Here's a very common thing I get. Martin, I have no idea what my 401k statement says, or my IRA statement. I get these things from my mail, from my current advisor. I can't interpret it. I'll interpret your investment statement if you want me to. It's your time, do whatever you want. So I encourage you to take advantage of that. I'd like you to, while you're here, here's my challenge for you, is decide tonight if you want a discovery meeting or not. And I'm okay with either answer, I promise you. In spite of my appearance, I have very thick skin. So I can take it. If you never want to talk to me again, keep it. Okay, keep the blue paper. But if you want to, great. We can schedule it. Again, in my office, by phone. Those of you who can do it tonight with my Sarah back there, she's my assistant. She's got my schedule. If you schedule it today, okay, no cost or obligation, we're going to give you a copy of If Money Could Talk, 200 quotations. So there's a little bribe for you. All right? And there's also some other fill in the blanks right there. If areas of interest, let me know what you learned tonight, what you might do different. That helps me out. And if you do know of a group or a business or association that might like this presentation, please let me know, and I'll give you 25% of my speaker's fee. Okay? So I'm going to pay you to help me get my next gig. But all the jokes tonight, they're all like they stay here, because I'm going to give you the exact same presentation. All right. Now, here's kind of my final thoughts here. If you actually apply what I've taught you here this evening, you get to know yourself. You define your purpose. You get your money DNA done. You create a plan to support that purpose. You make it dynamic. And then you track, adjust, repeat, track, adjust, repeat. Those are the basics. You got to master those. If you do those things, I believe that your financial junk drawer will go from this to this. Everything in its place, it all works. You know where it's at. You know what it's for. That's pretty good, right? I predict if you do these things, you're going to have less stress in your life. I predict you'll end up with more money as well. But perhaps most important of all, if you apply what you've learned here this evening, are these things right here more likely to happen? You're going to feel amazing, have a sense of freedom, room to stretch, focus on family, and have better relationships. That's why I'm here tonight, is to help you accomplish these things right here by getting your financial house in order. Thanks so much for having me here. It's your money. It's your future. Take charge.
Thank you. Any questions before we wrap up here?
Sure. I'm available.
Any questions, or do you want to take it offline and talk to him? Okay. Cool. Well, thank you, Martin, for joining us. I think this is going to be some good stuff here. And I would suggest everybody kind of go to the website and start figuring these